Japan's Prime Minister has addressed the nation as fears intensify about a possible nuclear meltdown at a power plant struck by last Friday's catastrophic earthquake and tsunami. The company running the Fukushima nuclear power plant has admitted meltdown is a possibility following 2 fresh explosions at the complex. And there are also fears of radioactive leakage, with reports of damage to the structure protecting the reactor. And now we can go live to Japan, and our correspondent Ivor Bennett is there for us. Hello there, Ivor. So radiation levels have risen both inside and outside the plant. How bad is the situation, and what's the risk of nuclear disaster now, and what's being done to try and prevent it?
The situation now is very critical indeed. There's a very realistic threat of a nuclear meltdown now. That's according to the Prime Minister, Naoto Kan. He's just come out and addressed the nation, warning people to stay indoors if they haven't been evacuated already. This follows 2 explosions this morning. The last one, previously intact reactors. The second one, actually, one reactor that wasn't even turned on. Had been shut down at the time of the earthquake, and we now could be on the verge of a major nuclear catastrophe. We know radiation has leaked there has been serious radiation leaks at both reactors. The radiation levels are 400 maximum level that's normally absorbed in 1 year. Previously, after the first explosion this morning, those levels were 8 times. So just in the last few moments, they've shot up. And it is a very critical situation indeed. And this is the first time, actually, that the Tokyo Electric Power Company and the Prime Minister have come out to say that we could be on the verge of a catastrophe here. And there is a major, very realistic possibility of meltdown. So this is very significant indeed. And the situation is critical.
Right, but what's the mood where you are at the moment? How worried are people there?
Well, this news of the second explosion hasn't filtered through really on the streets, but a number of journalist crews with and speaking to, they just want to head out. They're heading for the exit straight away. People don't want to stick around, and on the streets, people are lining up outside. What few food stores are still selling produce, they still have anything left. Most have empty shelves. They want to stock up in case they have to go to ground to spend time indoors because their fear of food shortages. People just want to get out of the atmosphere, or just head for the exits. People are heading to Tokyo as well to try and fly out of the country. They fear that this could be a really major disaster that is pending here.
Right. Aside from the risk of nuclear disaster, how's the rescue and recovery effort proceeding following Friday's earthquake and tsunami there?
Well, they've got a major task on their hands. First the earthquake, then the tsunami, and now a potential nuclear meltdown. And what a task it is. Until now, the last 4 days, they've been sifting through the debris. They've got everything in there that the tsunami left was complete destruction. They've had to sift through trees, boats, cars, buildings to try and find survivors. They have found 15,000 survivors along the destroyed coastline along the Pacific in the last 4 days, but they still know there's 30,000 people that they can't reach simply because the way is inaccessible. And it's a race against time, because there's, on top of the nuclear meltdown, they fear that another aftershock magnitude 7 could hit in the next few days, which again could lead to another tsunami. And if that happens, well, it's pretty much impossible to reach any survivors after that. And they know that the death count at the moment is already 2,400, and that's risen quite rapidly in the last day or so. It's already been 4 days for the people who are still missing, 10,000 in one town, Minamisanriku, and it's not looking likely if the search goes on still that these people could survive even. In terms of those who have been left homeless that have survived this catastrophe, 500,000 still spent their 4th night now without any shelter, heating or electricity. So the situation is very grave indeed for them. and food shortages are being helped by a number of food companies and all across the country, in fact, shipping in food aid to these stricken areas. And in the shelters, they're being provided with handouts. They're trying to make it 3 times a day, trying to give them what they can as produce flies in from across the country. But it looks like the situation now has just got a whole lot more serious because of these latest 2 explosions, and it looks like we might not be hanging around much longer, actually, because with these radiation levels rising, the situation is very critical indeed.